This is Breakfast Daily on City TV. Thank you so much for staying with us. Now, personality today is someone who needs no introduction. Actually, if you watch Big Issue every Saturday, he's usually on. I'm talking about Honorable Inusa Fuseini, MP for Tamale Central. We're going to get to know him. What was life like as a child? Why did he decide to teach and then make his way in as a senior lawyer before public service or being a politician? If you have any questions for him, let us know with the hashtag Breakfast Daily, and the WhatsApp line is 0550-585-832. Good morning, Honorable.
Good morning, and how are you?
I'm good. I like your outfit.
Thank you. Today's Friday.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, tell us a bit about your life. Where did you grow up? What did you do for fun as a child?
Well, I was born in Tamale, precisely in Tishibu, just a few meters away from the post office, the general post office, to a farmer, a butcher, and a petty trader as my mother.
Wow.
My mother was the third wife of my father.
How many siblings did you have before?
I had four siblings before I was born.
So you're the fifth?
The fifth.
Okay.
Yes. And then I grew up in Tamale. I attended Chugu Primary School.
Okay.
Chugu Primary School is around the hilltop, where we now have the West African Examination Council Hall.
Ah, okay.
And I crisscrossed. I followed my friends to St. Joseph's Middle.
Why?
Which, my house at that time was a rented tenant who had his children at St. Joseph's.
Okay.
And they were from the southern part of Ghana, Nkoko somewhere. And then the man was working with the Ghana Water and Sewage Corporation then. And then, so we had a car.
And that was a big deal.
Big deal. So we used to drop the children at St. Joseph's, which is quite far from my house. I thought I could benefit from the car rides every morning. So I followed the children to St. Joseph's. And that time, St. Joseph's was a middle school, so it was a 4-year middle education. And you were allowed to try your hands at the common entrance examination in the first year, second year, third year, or fourth year. So I tried the common entrance examination in the second year, and I passed.
Why second year? Why didn't you wait till the fourth year or the third year?
Well, again, peer group influence. I had this friend of mine who had married, whose sister had married into the royal family of Naligu, the Badem Sogro family.
Okay.
And then he thought that we should go to Naligu Secondary School to attend secondary education, and we were really very close.
Wow.
And without even telling my parents, when I sat for the common entrance, I only managed to squeeze money from my mother, 1 cedi then, for the form, and 40 pesos for the pictures.
Wow.
And I wrote the common entrance, I passed. And then I was even lucky to have gone to secondary school because my other sibling, who I followed immediately, had also written. And the mother was the second wife. And I told you my mother was the third wife.
Yes.
And the man has to be fair and equitable.
Yes.
And so when mine came, the results were still being held because they were waiting to see whether my other sibling would pass so that there can be fairness and treatment, equality in treatment. If not, the house will burn. So his father came. He also chose Zuarungo. Then now Big Boss. Okay. Then it was Zuarungo, and then so I passed. I followed my friend to Naligu Secondary School.
How was life like in secondary school?
Well, Naligu Secondary School was quite different, and that's why I always say that I'm privileged to be where I am today. I think that I'm most favored by God, because I can tell you, as a matter of fact, I completed Form 5 without knowing the syllables.
Really?
Yes.
So what did you study?
Well, so I just relied entirely on what my lecturers told me.
Wow.
Yes, I didn't know. There was no marking scheme. There was nothing. I mean, we had no lights.
So how did you?
We were using lanterns,
Wow.
with paraffin.
Wow.
Yes, there was no generator. The generator had broken down, so we were using lanterns.
So it was very
Well,
underprivileged.
and any time that we had water problems, water crisis, we would use to walk to a dam which is about 2 kilometers away from the school to fetch water. And
At
carry
that
the school.
time, did you find it abnormal, or you thought that's what everybody's experiencing?
Well, I didn't find it. Well, none of my siblings had ever gone to secondary school. I was about the first generation secondary school. We used to call ourselves, what was the name? Second something. And then the secondarian. We used to say secondarian. And so I had nothing to compare with. So it was normal for me.
But did you feel a pressure to succeed and do well in school because you were the first?
Against who? There was no benchmark. My parents never received my reports of my performance in school. If they did, how would they even read?
Yeah.
Because they had not gone to school. Yeah. That's why sometimes I say that, I remember just recently I was in Naligo with the former ambassador of Angola, and he said something very pronounced to me. Inusah, to be where you are today and to have attended Naligo Secondary School means that you were an intelligent person.
Yeah.
That's what he told me.
But at the time you were in a school without generator, water issues, did you see into the future?
I didn't see anything.
Okay.
I was just there. I was just in secondary school.
So at what point did you decide I'm going to pursue a higher degree?
So I just learned and knew that from secondary school, so from 5, you had to go to sixth form or trading college. That was it.
Wow.
So the natural progression was, if I did very well, I'll go to sixth form. If I didn't do very well, I'll go to trading college.
And what did you want to do?
I wanted to go to sixth form.
Okay.
Then again, I made a very big mistake. I went and chose non-norm secondary school.
Why?
So
Because another friend was going there, or what?
I don't know. Then I also had a second class. Grade 2, they used to call it.
Okay.
And my father said this was enough.
Oh.
From Chogo Primary School. Chogo Primary School is far from my house in Tishku. Then St. Joseph's very far from my house.
Why were you running away from home, though? Why?
Why? This was enough. Now, I really wanted to go to secondary school. I went to sixth form. So grade 2, I said, well, I will wait and improve on my results. Then again, one day, I had just returned from the farm. My father, I told you, a farmer, a butcher.
So you used to help him in the farm as well?
That was your obligation. Growing up, going to farm was your obligation.
Okay. So after school,
If you're going to help your father sell meat in the market was your obligation.
Okay. So it wasn't optional?
It's not optional. I mean, if you got bashed if you didn't go to the farm.
So how did you compare the two lives of
You
being
had to
in
learn
school?
how to compare the two.
How did you manage this?
There was no management. I mean, it was part of growing up. It was part of the training.
But how did you cope with, you come home and you try to not, change the way you are because you are now in school and perhaps your siblings are not? How were you able to differentiate?
Well, probably that's why if you grew up in a traditional setting, like the setting I grew up in, you really do not understand what is stress. There's no stress,
How?
Because that was part of your life.
Stress is part of your life.
Yeah,
That's not healthy.
It's just part of your life. You just grow up.
Okay.
Trying to manage many things, multitasking. That's all. Okay. It's part. So sometimes I don't feel stressed.
But at that age, how old were you then? Maybe like 12, 13?
Do I know? I just know that I was still sleeping in my father's room. I left my father's room when I finished training college. And so when they talk of CSE, they forget the traditional values and norms that were meant to ensure that you grew up into a useful and responsible person.
What do you mean?
Can you imagine when I grew up to the point of leaving my mother's room, I immediately moved to my father's room. And he had a corridor, a veranda sort of, which was part of his larger room, a veranda, a hall, and a bedroom. I started sleeping in the hall with my senior brother, the one I was immediately following. We were sleeping together on the same mat. That same mat was a mat my father used in the afternoon as a sitting place. And when he retired in the night to go and sleep, that was our bed. Okay, we slept there until my father thought we were sufficiently grown. So he moved us from his sitting room, which is just a button, his hall, into the veranda. And we were sleeping in the veranda. And I slept in the veranda of my father until I completed BATCO, that is the Boga Boga Training College. You get an import? Mm-hmm. You could not even go around messing with your life and ladies. Where will you send them? You could not.
Okay.
Just like the girl had to sleep with the mother until she was sufficiently grown to be married out.
So how old were you when you moved out of your
I had
parents'
completed training college. So
20.
definitely more than 18. Definitely in my 20s.
Okay.
And yes.
But when you were growing up, was there ever a time where you thought, perhaps let me just go and trade like everybody else, or let me farm like everyone else? Why did you choose the path of education?
So I was telling you about my desire to go to sixth form, and my grade 2, and the fact that I chose Nandom, and I wanted to go to Tamasco. Then I had to sit for 1 year if I really wanted to go to Tamasco to improve upon the results. Then one day we came from the farm, and there was this old teacher. Well, that was when Liman had just won the elections.
Okay.
Then he said, Inusah, you see, the thing about education is, if you waste 1 year at home and you are unable to improve upon the results, your desire, your ambition might wane. Mm-hmm. That was, in the nutshell, that was what he was telling me. Yeah. You lose focus. So while you think that you can still you want to go to sixth form, why don't you try the training college? And if while in training college you improve upon your results, you can abandon the training college and go to your sixth form. Yeah. I think that was a very useful advice. I went to attend the interview for BATCO on the day that they were conducting interviews.
Wow.
I had not completed the forms. So I went to BATCO, I bought the form. There was one Father Johnson, or Father Mike, who was then a Catholic father attached to Tamale Secondary School, house just a button where the Catholic Church is now in Tamale Secondary School. And I went to him. He finally was excommunicated because he married one of the ladies in the church. Father Mike finally married.
Wait, he's a priest?
Was a priest.
How did he end up marrying someone in the church?
One tapam. I mean, it's a long story. I mean,
but you're not supposed to do that, though.
Well, I don't know. I'm just telling you, part of the experiences, part of the things growing up that I still remember. Okay. I'm just telling you what I said. I was not close to Father Mike. Okay. But I'm telling you, Father Mike was the one who endorsed my form. Okay. Yes. So, but it's interesting, growing up and remembering all these things. And yeah. So I took my form to the administration of Boga Training College. It's still where it is. Mm-hmm. And the administrator took the form, saw all my passes. I had gotten all the 5 credits, including maths and English and science. And I had not completed any form. So he asked me, so why are you not completing the form when we wanted people to come to? I said, but I didn't intend to come to that school. I just said it that way.
You said that?
I said that to him.
Why?
Well, that's the truth.
But still.
Yeah, why? That's the truth. I said, I want to come to school. I said, okay, but now you are here. So he matched me to, those lecturers are now, or teachers are now dead. Egbelegu, Mr. Alidu, Mr. Zach is there, the military preceding principal of that school.
What influence did they all have on your life?
Oh, very good influences. I've said it in BATCO and I'll say it here again. BATCO was the first educational institution that opened my eyes to academic pursuits. It's BATCO. I told you that in the Lagos Secondary School.
You didn't have a syllabus, so you...
I didn't know syllabus. I was just reading. What the lecturer said was what that was needed for O-levels was what I read.
So you didn't really think critically about the things
No, you know what was critical about what? Critical was reading your notes and ensuring that, so what the lecturer said was the true story, was what I followed. So I believed in the lecturers or
So
in the teachers.
how did you now find your own intellectual path?
Batco was an aggregation of people from different secondary schools. From Tamale School, from Bisco, from Ghana School, from some southern schools, people who came to Batco by mistake. Like me, and then they thought that institution was great, and that they wanted to make the best out of it. And I know many of my colleagues who are now doctors. I'm a lawyer from Batco, and you know, so people just thought that, Charlie, this is the place to make it big.
Yeah.
There was some level of freedom.
Was there some competition amongst you?
There was no competition as such.
Excellence?
The competition was actually between Batco and the other surrounding institutions because we were relatively free. We were treated as adults, okay? And you could go to town anytime you wanted. You go to lectures. No one rings a bell for you to go to. You know, it was great. But within that environment, we found ourselves.
Yeah.
The fact that we're talking to each other, we thought that we should aspire to greater heights. We devoted time to studies. Some didn't, obviously, but a majority of us did. I'm not surprised.
Who were your role models back then?
Well, it was in Batco that I encountered Baumia's father. I was in the same class with Baumia's senior brothers, two of them.
Wow. And
I for some brief moments in my life, I have stayed in Baumia's house, Mumunu Baumia's house, both in Nalilegu and in Tamale.
How did that happen?
Well, because I followed my classmates.
As usual.
To their homes. So I followed them. I can tell you as a matter of fact that even when I was in government, I once upon a time visited Baumia's mother.
Wow.
Because there was, so
you were close to his
not that close, but I just felt that all of them contributed to making me who I am. Okay, so
How significant was the meeting with Baumia's father?
No, I didn't meet Baumia's father. He was in the class of, but it was in Batco that I saw that Baumia, who was a lawyer, woman Baumia, who was a lawyer, was the council, the board chairman or something. I mean, he was the chairman of something at Batco. Okay, and his name had been written boldly.
Wow.
Okay, in the assembly hall. I said, maybe I can also be a lawyer in future.
Why? You wanted your name to be written boldly?
Boldly!
Why? What would that mean for you?
I will be a lawyer. I will also be great and famous. You know, and to be that, you had to start reading.
Yeah.
So I started reading. And I came into contact with people whose fathers were already big men in society, who had completed secondary school, had come to Batco. Then you would hear their names. I remember I had a classmate whose father under Liman was an ambassador.
Wow.
So my father was a farmer sitting in Tishigo. So you know, you wanted to also grow up to be like their fathers. Wow. So I started devoting my time to studies. And before I left Batco, I had gotten the A levels. Wow. But again, I then decided I was going to teach.
Why?
I wanted teaching.
Why did you want to teach?
No, I wanted to teach. I then decided I was going to teach.
But
I didn't want
to be a lawyer.
I wouldn't go to. No, I didn't. In Batco, I got the A levels.
Okay.
But I didn't go straight to. I didn't continue my education. You know, I then decided that I should go and teach, and many things influenced that. One, I didn't want to go back to the farm again.
Why not?
Why? I'm now a teacher. Why should I go there?
Stress is a part of your being. So farming is a part of who you are.
But not farming is not stressful.
Okay.
I didn't just want to go back to the farm.
Why?
Yeah, because I had become a teacher.
Okay.
So I went.
But you could still have applied the knowledge to perhaps
So you know what
innovate the process of farming.
So at that time, we had what we called supply teachers. There were not enough teachers in the system.
Okay.
The training colleges were still training people to come out as qualified teachers. And so the Ghana Education Service had a system where the recruited persons who had completed the O levels but who had not proceeded and who could teach into the classrooms as supply teachers.
Ah, okay.
So I applied with my O levels. My O levels, I told you, was not that bad.
It was okay.
There was one reverend father who was then the district director of education in Tamale. I think he progressed to become the head of NAT, Ghana National Association of Teachers. So when he saw he said, "Oh, why? Why didn't you use your results for training college or sixth form?" I kept quiet because I was doing something which I said, no. So he called the director of human resource, and they said, "You should post me supply teachers. These results are good.
Wow.
So go and teach. I can teach maths, I can teach English, I can teach science, middle school." So they posted me to Tolong.
How far
as a
is
supply
that?
teacher. Tolong is just some, I think, about between 7 and 10 kilometers away from Tamale, on the Nyankpala Road.
Ah, okay.
There was a Tolong Middle School. Now it's a secondary school.
What was your first day like as a teacher?
I didn't even teach in that school.
Why?
So when I went, the head teacher, I think, was a post B.
Okay.
Then he saw me. I don't know whether he recognized me. He recognized that problem. I was a student of that school. Immediately. At that time, they used to pay across the table, and then
Oh, so you just get your...
and the head teacher will take, when you reported, the head teacher will take your letter of appointment back to the education office and indicate that you have reported, and then counting will start and payment will be recorded.
So you were looking forward to your
So
first salary.
He took my appointment letter to Ghana Education Service. So I told them that he didn't need a teacher. then okay. So meanwhile, I had me appointed.
So what do you do now?
They then reposted me to Nyankpala.
Ah, okay.
So Nyankpala is, you get to Nyankpala before Tolong.
Okay.
So Nyankpala is nearer Tamale.
Yeah.
So I started with Nyankpala and I was teaching. I taught in middle school from 2 as a supply teacher until the year ended. There was one Mr. Yakubu or so, or Abukari. Yakubu Abukari or so, who was a circuit supervisor. Then anytime he came around, he would look at me, the way I was teaching, and he said, "This person is deceiving us."
Why?
Because the way I was teaching, I was using modern methods of teaching. And the way I was teaching could only be taught in training college.
Ah.
A people teacher could not be teaching with such methods. So he suspected that I was not a supply teacher.
Did he confront you about
He
it?
didn't confront me. He did his own investigation.
Wow.
And
Were you afraid they'll kick you
No,
out?
he came to, and then discovered the fact that I was not a supply teacher. I was a trained teacher.
Wow.
And he didn't confront me. So what he did was, he went back to Batco and found 2 other persons I was close to when we were in school, and posted the 2 persons together with me back to the same school.
Wow. So he was really impressed with you. Is that why he...
It's not about being impressed.
So what was it?
Nyankpala was far. You to go to Nyankpala, you needed to put your white shirt in the bag because the road was not tarred. So as a trained teacher, we were in very great demand. If he didn't discover that I was a trained teacher, there was no way I was going to go to Nyankpala.
Yeah.
Because town schools, I was a trained teacher. Yeah. So I think that was sort of a punishment. But in order to get me to stay in Nyankpala, he added 2 of my friends.
So that you would like
So the friendship will continue in Nyankpala, and then we'll teach. And then we stayed. Razak, Wumbe, we taught in Nyankpala.
What did you like about teaching?
I liked Nyankpala because then, when I went to Nyankpala, the commentary was still in vogue. I was a trained teacher. 2 of my colleagues had come to add to the group. So we're now a squad. Then we decided that we should impact Nyankpala Middle School. In our spare time, schools used to close around 2 o'clock. Then to go to Tamale, you needed to wait for the next market day or market track to pass. So we were not going to Tamale. So how could we use our spare time? Then we decided that we should bring all the students who were desirous of writing commentaries and teach them for free.
Wow.
One of my legacies in Nyankpala is that year, so many students passed the common entrance that their parents could not even pay for them to go to secondary school.
Wow.
Free for free. Taught them for free.
How was that feeling?
No, up to now, I mean, and let me also confess that so many years after I left Nyankpala, and I went outside hustling, seeking greener pastures.
Outside where?
Outside in Libya.
You went to Libya?
To teach English as a second language.
How did you end up in Libya?
I went, yes. I mean,
why Libya?
Because I was seeking greener pastures.
In Libya?
Yes.
What was that journey like?
It was by plane. I mean, you had the plane, and Gaddafi had come here with a big plane and collected teachers and went.
And you just went. You were not afraid?
Of what?
I mean, you're leaving the country. How old were you then?
That was my 3rd year of teaching as a
So 22?
teacher. 22 to the 3 years.
You've never left. Did you at least come to Accra before? I'm sure you came to Accra.
My going to Libya was the only reason why I came to Accra.
So yeah, shouldn't you take it easy?
But
maybe
it's not. Looking back, I think that I was very adventurous.
Yeah, like who goes to Libya? Why?
But that's how things are discovered. Not so.
How was life like when you got there?
Oh, life was normal. I mean, it was normal.
Were they nice to you? Did they treat you any differently?
I went in the company of Ghanaians. About 9 of us were posted to Zlatan. We met a couple of old guys, Ghanaians. We blended. And there was one, Chris. I was appointed the secretary to the Ghanaian community.
How long were you in Libya?
And then 1 year. 2 years. That was the time America bombed, the first time America bombed Libya. I was there.
Wow. What was that experience like?
Well, they gathered us to go and issue statements and condemn America and all those things. But that was another experience.
Were your parents worried about you?
My parents was a typical conservative Dogomba man.
So did they think you were crazy?
They thought that it was a reduction in stature and importance if your children left you to seek greener pastures. My father did not accept the fact that I could leave the house because I was seeking.
Why were you seeking greener pastures?
Why was that?
What were you looking for?
That's a good question.
What was it that you were looking
for? Was it that I couldn't be fed in the house? What was it that I was looking for?
Answer the question.
No, I only told him that he should allow me to go and make new friends.
But you can come to Accra, you can go to Kumasi, you can go to
But I'm
Takoradi,
telling
you can go to other places to make new friends, not Libya.
The only time my father accepted my going to Libya, when I was still in Ghana, was he had a friend, an old Yoruba friend, Alhaji Audu, whose son had also grown up to be my father's son, because he regarded my father as a father, and I regarded him as my senior brother. He was staying somewhere in this area at Dabraka. So when I got the recruitment, I took the letter to him and told him that he had to go and break the news to my father. Alhaji Umurana, he's in Tamale now. He's now the Yoruba chief in Tamale. So I took the letter to him and told him he had to go and break the news to my father.
How did your dad
it went.
So he handled it well?
One day he just went and told my father that his junior brother had been recruited to go to Libya and teach, and my father was lying, and he sat up and started asking me questions. He explained. And my father was totally satisfied and called my senior brother to come and ask Alhaji Umurana what they needed for me to be able to go. My father accepted the counsel of Alhaji Umurana. At that time, Umurana, not Alhaji. So that's how. So it was in Libya that this Chris man, after the first meeting of Ghanaian teachers, called me aside and said, I was the secretary. So I recorded the minutes. And then after I read the minutes in the meeting, he called me aside and said, I should go back to Ghana and go to school.
Yeah.
Because
The hustling life is not for you.
no, the way I recorded the minutes and everything, he thought that no, I had the potential, I had a future. So I came back here. I came back to Ghana.
Did you go back to the north or you stayed in Accra?
I bought a taxi.
You bought a taxi?
And I was driving a taxi in town.
From the money you made from teaching English in Libya?
I bought a taxi, a Datsun 140J.
So you were driving it?
You know that taxi? Do you know that car?
I was not born yet.
That was those cars that were in vogue.
Oh, okay. So you were sitting in it.
I bought a taxi and.
Did you feel like now you're on top?
No, I was doing taxi. Then one day I bought the Times, Ghanaian Times, and I saw an advert that they were going to run a program at the Workers' College, just across. So I drove my taxi there and asked them. There was an old man who was the director of the Accra Workers' College was called then. Mm-hmm. Then they took me through what they were going to do. So I bought the form.
To go to law school?
To go to Legon.
Ah, okay.
So that was my journey to Legon. I actually went to Legon as a mature student.
How old were you then?
About 30 years.
So you had already married?
I had married, I had brought 4 children.
Where did you meet your wife?
I left her at home.
No, where did you meet her?
I met her in Tamale.
After you left your dad's house?
I didn't leave my dad's house. I married her and we were staying in my dad's house.
But you said if you're in your dad's house, you don't have time to be chasing women.
Not the room.
So if you leave the room, then you can chase women.
I was not given a room. So I was not matured. Not the house. I didn't leave the house.
So once you left your dad's room,
house only when I built my own house.
So once you had your own room in your dad's house,
you could marry.
Now you can marry.
Yes.
So then children who have their own
and so
rooms,
you bring forth
the
children in your dad's house. And it is part of the responsibility of everybody in the family to help nurture the children.
What drives you?
Oh, what drives me? I think it's a passion for service. I believe in hard work. I also believe in discipline. I think humility is a value. And I have a can-do spirit. What anybody can do, I think I can. So I don't self-deprecate. I don't. In Legon, when I went to Legon, we were about 100 in the classroom. I went to Legon as a mature student. They were going to select 40 of the students to read LLB and 20 to combine BA Law. It was going to be in order of merit. One of my colleagues told me that since I had come to Legon as a mature student, I had already fallen by the wayside. There was no way I was going to beat him in an examination. But I took it as a challenge. I took his statement as a challenge. And at the end of the first year in Legon, I was the 7th person to be selected to read law.
Wow.
Yes.
So we have to talk about...
And I ended Legon as among the best 10 students of that year. I was called back to the university, and even at that age, to be a TA.
Honorable. Your life is too much for just 40 minutes. I think you have to come back to walk us through life as a mature student, a lawyer, and then a politician. So will you come back next week?
So when I went to the law firm...
We've run out of time. You're enjoying the conversation too much. Honorable Inusa Fuseini is MP for Tamale Central. Thank you so much for being with us and sharing your life with us in a way that is so open and so vulnerable. And I hope you guys at home, you've learned something, right? So believe in yourself, work hard, be humble, and there's absolutely nothing you cannot achieve if you put your mind to it. Do not go anywhere. We'll be right back. Hi guys, I hope you enjoyed this video.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel, The City Tube,
for exclusive breakfast daily content and other City TV programs.
like, comment, and share with your friends.